friends, this is a historic moment. Look behind me. These are all the Jewish people from the once lost tribe of Dan that have come home to Israel. This is biblical prophecy fulfilled. Look at this. When they arrived, they kissed the ground and thanked God for bringing them home. What an amazing thing that we are privileged to be in this moment. This is the ingathering of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And the first person, actually, that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, met was a boy named Yerushalayim, which means Jerusalem, and a girl named Esther. This is what they've been holding on to in Ethiopia through 2,000 years of exile, to Jerusalem, to Esther, to the stories of the Bible. And now they're home. And what an honor I have to represent you here. Take a look.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahawah, Yahawashi, Kadash. I also want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to all the Akim out there pushing the truth and sincerity and with all charity. Shalom, Akim, and salute. All right, so I'm going to. The name of this lesson is called, what happened to Dan. What happened to Dan, and the reason what inspired this lesson is this the video that I'll put at the beginning of this in the post production. Okay, what this heathen is saying is all cap. Okay, in other words, she's lying through her teeth. All right, the tribe of Dan, the flesh of Dan, is gone. Okay. Is gone. And we'll just get into some scripts, okay? Let's start with the history itself. All right, because one thing about Dan, what you're going to come to realize about Dan is Dan, the tribe of Dan, was the most idolatrous tribe of Israel, and it came with a cost. It came with a fatal cost, okay? Now, with that, we'll get into the history. This is 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. Start at verse 1. Bear with me, but we'll get to the point. It says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Salmanasar, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy with Hosea, for he had sent messengers to so king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria, and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah, in Habor, by the river of Gozan, in the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made. Now, when you go into the history of the Assyrians, the ancient Assyrians, they were brutal warriors. Okay, they had a reputation for putting their captives to death. Okay, long and drawn out. They didn't believe in really taking too many prisoners, man. Okay, the more noble or more you stood out, the more harsh of the punishment there was, and more systematic of a punishment it was. Okay, they would fillet you, cut your arms off, arrange you on stakes, hang you, destroy you, literally destroy you. Okay, they deemed it more sufficient for them to do that than to just take care of slaves beyond a certain point. Okay, and it was no exceptions to the rules, man. Okay, and me personally, I sincerely, just like what happened when we left Egypt the first time when Israel was being disobedient, and the Lord told Moses, "Yo, get out my way. I'm going to destroy all of them and just build with you." Okay, it could have went that way with the whole 10 tribes of Israel. If the Lord did not, I sincerely believe that if the Lord did not show uh, the 10 tribes favor in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, by allowing them to leave from among that captivity and go off into what we know as the Americas of today, all the 10 tribes would have been wiped out by the Assyrians, man. Okay, I sincerely believe that they had a brutal culture. Okay, now that we know what happened to the northern tribe, and Dan was there. Dan was at the north, the top of the northern kingdom. Okay, territorial wise, man, they would have been some of the first to get snatched up. Them in Naphtali. Okay, with that, I'll get another precept. Okay, this is Amos, the 8th chapter, 14th verse. Okay, it says, "They that swear by the sin of Samaria, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise again." Okay, now we know for a fact that Dan is the only one that's reported to not rise out of that captivity, man. Okay, that was the perfect place to do such a thing to anyone that would swear by the God of Dan or by the sin of Samaria, man. It was the perfect punishment, okay? And Dan, being as hard-headed as they got what they deserved in the flesh, so to speak. Okay, the flesh of Dan is no more. Just as the scriptures say, they shall fall and never rise up again. Okay, Dan is gone. All right, but as we know, those tribes from Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, they repented, man, and they asked the Lord. Matter of fact, I'll grab that real quick. You know, Dan didn't make it out, man. He was destroyed. Let's see here. This is Second Ezra 13:40. It says, "Those are the 10 tribes uh, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the same time, in the time of Hosea, the king of whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own lands." Okay, it says, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. See, the Lord was with them, man, and I sincerely believe that's the only reason why they escaped. That's the only reason why they got away, man, because the Lord was with them. Other than that, man, they would have been wiped out. The Assyrians probably were, man, probably top three most brutal ruling kingdoms in history, man. Okay, but nevertheless, so what happened to Dan? What happened to Dan? Let's get into it. This is Genesis, the 49th chapter. We'll start at verse 1 to let you know what's going on in this chapter. It says, "And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days." Okay, so he's telling his sons about what's going to happen to them in the last days. Okay, now be mindful that the time that the northern kingdom went into the captivity under the Assyria, that was not the last days. Okay, we are in these last days. The last days are now. Okay, all right. So with that being said, let's get to verse 16. It says, "Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel." Okay, let's read that again. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, man. Dan is scattered throughout all the tribes, man. Okay, Apostle Gabar said it in a real solid way. He said Dan is an amalgam. When you go into that word amalgam, it's a mixture. Okay, Dan is mixed in amongst the other tribes of Israel, man. So that's what happened to Dan, man. All right, the spirit of Dan is within all the other tribes of Israel. Okay, and listen, tribes are interchangeable. Okay, I'll give you a good example of that. A good example of that concept is Moses. Okay, Moses was a Levite. Okay, but we also know in the regeneration, Moses is King David, and King David was a Judite. So there you go. All right, so that's what happened to Dan. All those people you saw running with that heathen woman, those are not the tribe of Dan. Okay, Dan is scattered throughout all the children of Israel. Now the thing about the children of Israel is scattered throughout all nations as a part of the curse. And I'll grab that. This is Deuteronomy 28. I want to say it's verse 60. Satan. There we go. No, 64, Shalakia. Deuteronomy 28 and 64. It says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." Okay, so not only do you got Dan scattered throughout all the tribes of Israel through the Spirit, but the children of Israel themselves are scattered throughout all nations because of the curse, man. So Dan, when you really put the scope in on Dan, Dan is literally an amalgam that's mixed in amongst all of the tribes of Israel, man. It's your flesh which determines your tribe, not your spirit, man. Okay? So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahawah by Hashem, Yahawashi by Hashem Kwakadash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Lord willing, you was edified in Shalom.